Hey everybody, 815 Sports Podcast back for our Super Bowl 57 episode. Been looking forward to this for a long time. Wish that our teams were playing in it. Um, but a really great game. I think it's going to be high scoring. Two really electric offenses. A lot of superstars on the field. Both quarterbacks young. Obviously, Mahomes, he's young, but he's been doing this for a while. This high level. Jalen Hurts is just now coming on the scene. Um, Obviously, Mahomes just got MVP. These teams both very solid on both sides of the ball. On offense, overall, the Chiefs are first. The Eagles are third. In rushing, the Eagles are fifth. The Chiefs are 20th. In passing, the Chiefs are first.
Crazy.
No surprise. Passing, Eagles are ninth. And in scoring, the Eagles are third. And in offense,
Who's
the
second
Chiefs are
scoring?
first.
Do you remember?
I don't know. Maybe the Bills. Maybe.
Probably.
And then on defense, the Chiefs have the number 11th overall defense, and the Eagles have the number 2 overall defense. So both very good on both sides of the ball. When these teams have played against each other, the series record is 5-4. The Chiefs lead, and then the Eagles are
Have they
favored by
played?
1.5.
Has this been a Super Bowl matchup before or no?
I don't believe so. No.
It's always kind of cool to know shit like that. I don't think. So yeah, I think if both of these teams get into, you're going to get the best at offense and one of the best at defense. So it's always fun to see that go together because something's got to give, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what's going to give. You said you're taking the Eagles, right?
Yeah.
I don't really care, but I'm going to take the Chiefs. I think in games like this, I tend to ride with who I think the better player is, and in football, it's all really about the quarterback position. I know it's a team game, I get that, but you don't watch that game last year and tell me without Mahomes and Allen, those teams are doing that. So I think Patrick Mahomes elevates his team over the Eagles. I just think maybe because he's been there more. Obviously he's got a lot more experience. What is this, like the fourth?
His third Super Bowl.
But I mean, is this 5 years in a row that the Chiefs have played in the AFC Championship game? I think it's something crazy like that.
Every year since he's been a starter.
Um,
Which really, if you think about it, he's on pace probably to surpass Tom Brady.
he's got to be on pace to become the new GOAT if he keeps playing 5 AFC Championship games in a row. I don't know if Tom Brady did that.
I don't know. I bet you he might have. I don't know that for sure.
The thing about it is he don't. How many back-to-back Super Bowls does he have? We can look it up.
I don't know. He played in 10 total Super Bowls.
Let's see.
I think Mahomes could go to the Super Bowl. This is what I thought was going to happen when Aaron Rodgers won it when he was really young, but it never happened.
Well, so let's see. They obviously have all their championships come with obviously Tom Brady, but they've never won. They won back-to-back in 2004 and 2005.
They were the last team to do that.
So I don't know if he has done something like that because, obviously I think they made the playoffs every year but
once. There you go, conference championships.
Oh.
Now, that doesn't show appearances, but
anyways, what we're trying to say is it's absolutely remarkable that they've gotten there 5 years in a row because it's not like the AFC is a joke.
No, they're really good.
The AFC is really good. You've got Burrow and the Bengals who came on the last, this is the second year in a row. And then you got the Bills and Josh Allen, who they've been there now for maybe, is this like
2 or 3 years?
This is like the third year in a row the Bills have been this good.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously you got the Chiefs. And then
you still got Brady.
Still got
Lamar when he's healthy.
Brady. You had Brady in Mahomes' first couple of years.
Yep.
Obviously Lamar Jackson.
Herbert.
We haven't seen Herbert. Yeah,
we know he's talented.
We know he's talented with Herbert.
Trevor Lawrence coming on the scene. The Jags played really well against the Chiefs.
Jags did play really well. Look, I think the Dolphins are pretty good. Look what they did in Buffalo with Skylar Thompson, who's third-string quarterback.
Should have beat Buffalo.
Let's be honest. He was taking his team down to win the game in the wild card game versus the Super Bowl favorites, the Bills, at the beginning of the year. So with Tua, I think the Dolphins can beat really any team. So what we're trying to say is the AFC is loaded. I think it's way more loaded than the NFC. What are some teams in the NFC?
We got the Eagles, the Niners. Let's see, Eagles, Niners, Cowboys.
You consider the Giants?
No,
I consider
the
those
Giants
teams
don't
good.
Really scare me.
They're good. They're good. They beat you different ways because they play defense and run the ball down your throat.
The only two teams that I would say,
I mean, obviously in years past you've had the Packers every year, but I don't know going forward. We don't know about their situation yet, right?
Yeah.
Are you certain that Aaron Rodgers is your quarterback next year?
No.
So we don't know. We don't know their situation.
I hope it's Jordan Love. But with that being said, I think that there's two teams you can guarantee are going to be good again next year, and it's the Eagles and it's the Niners.
The Niners.
And probably the Cowboys. The Cowboys are probably going to be relevant.
Well, the Cowboys are always relevant every year. They just don't win in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So I would rather be that.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've kind of had this discussion before about the Packers. I'd rather be there every year because obviously you have a chance. And obviously, like the Packers did the one year, they did break through and win. And they have got to bigger games. But they have lost just like the Cowboys do. They lose in a lot of big games.
Yep.
But I don't care. I mean, if that's what we're going to use against a team and a franchise, then let me be that team.
Yeah.
Because that's what I want to be. Now, I cannot stand the Dallas Cowboys, but that was kind of just picking them up a little bit, I'd say.
And I think one other team in the NFC that's going to be really good next year is the Lions.
What about the Vikings?
I do not think the Vikings are going to. The Vikings are frauds.
I mean, they were unbeatable in the regular season. Then they would have like a game every 3 or 4 weeks where they get destroyed. And the Cowboy one comes to.
Well, the Packers destroyed them too, like 41-17.
That was the last week of the regular season, right?
Second to last week because we lost, didn't make the playoffs. But yeah, I don't know what the Vikings will do because I know I've seen on Twitter a lot of their fans don't want Dalvin Cook back for his price tag.
I think. Have you heard?
I just don't think that team's good enough to win a Super Bowl.
I don't know that they're good enough to win a Super Bowl, but I think
they can be relevant.
I think they're good enough to make the playoffs.
Yeah, they can be relevant.
And man, I don't know. What about your Pack? I don't know about your Packers. I mean, we'll have this
going forward.
We'll have this what? I mean, you just expect Jordan Love to come in his first year and like they're the number 1 seed?
Maybe no, not the number 1 seed. But my expectations for the Packers every year is playoffs.
Yeah, should be.
And when Rodgers was at quarterback, every single year I thought we had a chance to win the Super Bowl.
Well, and they pretty much had a chance, but
Aaron
they
Jones
lost a lot of games that should not have lost. Especially the one that really irked me is the one 2 years ago
against Tom.
No,
we lost against Tom. We lost against San Francisco.
They were the best team in the league, and then they come and lay an egg. But they've done that before.
Yeah. But yesterday, Aaron Jones was on what's Skip Bayless's show, Undisputed.
First Take? Oh, not me. But Jesus,
Undisputed.
Look at how old
that
I
was
am.
a while back. But he said, from what he's seen in practice and just over the 3-4 years that Jordan's been there now.
Oh yeah,
that he's seen a huge improvement. Jordan has a lot more confidence.
Is this not what Rodgers and Favre did? How long did Rodgers watch Favre?
Until 2008, 3 years.
Okay, and how long has Love watched Rodgers?
20, 21, 22. So
kind of the same situation.
I really do think the Packers are going to trade him. I don't know. I would assume it's going to be to the Raiders or the Jets. They won't trade him.
You want him to be out of the NFC, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to play him.
Yeah, they won't trade him in the NFC. I personally think they're going to get at least 1 first-round pick this year. If they trade with the Raiders, they have a good chance of maybe getting Darren Waller in the number 7 pick in the NFL draft. If they trade with the Jets, I don't know what the thing would really look like. Maybe 2 firsts.
I wish he'd go to Miami for 2 years. I really do. I really do. I really like Aaron Rodgers.
That's a possibility.
I mean, I don't think – I think – I've been high on him since we've been able to talk sports. Still right now, I don't know that I can name 5 quarterbacks in the NFL I'd rather take over Aaron Rodgers right now. So that's saying something. I mean, he comes into that offense with Mike McDaniel, who just lets him sling it.
And Hill and Waddle.
And I think Josh Jacobs might end up in Miami. That's just something I've seen. But
yeah, you guys would be loaded. I mean, you'd be a lot better of a team. You'd be a lot better off than you are now with Tua for a year or two. But the thing with Rodgers is he brings a lot of drama. Do you want to sit there every offseason? I guess it's a good problem to have.
Well, I don't know.
But
I think Tua is good. I think Tua is good enough to win, to get to a Super Bowl. And if things go his way, I mean, he'll
if he can
streak
stay
down the
healthy.
sideline, and I mean, I think Tua is good enough. So either way, I mean, when Tua was playing last year, we were one of the best teams in the league.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very confident in Tua next year. Now, that being said, if something happens like it did this year, they got to have a better backup than Teddy Two Gloves, which I thought was good at the time, but he obviously wasn't.
Yeah, you got a lot more faith in him than I did.
But anyways, back to the Super Bowl. Cole's got the Eagles. I got the Chiefs. I think we both think it's going to be high scoring. I think both would take the over.
Yeah, the over's 50.5. And the spread, I think, is 1.5.
The spread started at 2.
It's 1.5 now. Eagles are favorited.
This says their record versus the spread. The Eagles are 6-10, and the Chiefs are 5-11. So obviously that's not good if you're thinking about taking the spread.
Well, it says, what's it say? 51% of the bets are on the Chiefs money line.
51% of the bets. Oh no, 44.
Yeah, no, but then down here it says money line.
So I mean, yeah, nobody knows who to take. It's 50-50 for everything, really. I don't know that this really it kind of does matter. Record indoor. Chiefs are 2-1, and the Eagles are 3-1.
Both have played pretty well then. Indoors.
I mean, let's be honest. If this game was played outdoors, I would maybe lean more Eagles.
Just because
they run it more? Does that make sense?
I don't think. Yeah, but
I would lean more Eagles because the way Hurts can escape and they run it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think playing indoors benefits the Chiefs a lot more.
Yeah.
That's something I never really thought about, but it is being played indoors, and that is a huge factor.
It feels like the Super Bowl is played indoors almost every year, besides when it's in Miami.
Yeah, I mean, not every year. I mean, look what happened to the Bears and the Colts.
Yeah, that was
it was pouring.
Mm-hmm.
And Prince sang Purple Rain in the rain.
So our stats here say that this marks the 6th time since the 1970 merger that 2 teams with the top record in the NFL have met in the Super Bowl. Eagles are playing in their 4th Super Bowl. They lost their first 2, and then they won it in 2017. Everybody remembers the Philly special. Nick Foles against Brady. And the Chiefs are playing in their 3rd Super Bowl in 4 seasons.
That's incredible.
Obviously, they beat the Niners in 2020. And
where was that one at again?
That one was in Miami.
Was it?
Yeah, it was the 100th season. The NFL did all that gold jacket and stuff. Yeah,
so do we know the halftime performer?
Rihanna.
Who else?
I don't know who else. But I like Rihanna. She's made a lot of good songs over the years.
Yeah, over the years. She was better when we were growing up, for sure.
Yeah. But I don't know. Everybody,
so
music changes.
What is going on? And you might have no idea. What is the Brett Favre saga?
I don't know, but
that just came about.
I just saw that he sued, or he's suing Pat McAfee
and
Shannon Sharp. Yeah, for defamation.
But what was it about? It was about his help. He was trying to help the people and the people that are less fortunate, or what?
No, I think supposedly what happened was Favre is building like a volleyball court for his daughter wherever she goes to college, and supposedly he used money that was supposed to go towards
a fund or something.
Yeah, like the less fortunate or something, supposedly. But I don't know the whole story.
Why couldn't he just use his own money?
I don't know. You'd assume he's loaded.
I mean, you would think so. I mean, I don't know what he does now. Is he? I don't think he's a coach. Is he anywhere?
No.
So what does he do for money? I don't know that he needs money, but
well, he.
I mean, Allen Iverson was broke.
He does commercials.
Yeah, I'm sure he does.
I don't think he's broke, but it does take a lot to build a stadium and then a volleyball court in college.
And can we give a quick shout out to Zach Thomas? He finally got into the Hall of Fame. I mean, his stats are better than Brian Urlacher's, and he finally got in. Him and Brian Urlacher are literally the same player, but his stats are a little bit better in every category. And I mean, he was advocating for Zach Thomas to get in the last 4 or 5 years, probably 6. But he finally got in, and he deserved it. He played from 1996 to 2007 with the Dolphins, so his whole career. And one of the best middle linebackers we've ever seen in this league. A ball hawk. I mean, I don't know if you really know much about Zach Thomas.
I don't.
But pretty incredible career with the Dolphins. Was there for the first 5 years where they were good and made the playoffs his first 5 years. And then after that, he was there every year when they were like kind of just bad, just kind of like 500, like they've always been. And never, back then you stayed on teams longer than you did now. Like never cared, just like he was a Dolphin mania. He's a Dolphin for life. And that's the players that I really like Jason Taylor. You probably heard of him.
Yeah, I know Jason Taylor.
Jason Taylor was there from 97 to 08. I mean, they were teammates for 10 years.
His son's on LSU now.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy how they never really had great teams together, but
yeah,
they had some good teams together that won a couple playoff games in the late 90s and early 2000s. But just a shout out to him because he deserved it. I mean, he was better than half of the linebackers in the Hall of Fame, and I don't know if they had a vendetta against him, the voters, or if
a lot of times, that's a lot of stuff that has to do with winning. You know?
And he didn't. I mean,
and that's nothing against him because winning, in my opinion, team, and definitely if you're on defense, it's hard to control.
Yeah, it is. I mean, but
yeah,
that was pretty cool because he was, and Jimmy Johnson was the one that told him, who was his coach for a couple of years in Miami. So that's cool.
With that being said, some other members of the class this year are Rondé Barber, Darrell Revis, Joe Thomas, a long time.
Joe Thomas, I've heard of all
offensive lineman. Joe Thomas.
For who?
I think he played for Cleveland.
See, I heard the Rondé Barber. Remember that I read a book about him.
That him and Tiki, they were brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cleveland's lineman that played for years in Cleveland and never left through all those tough years. Like you said, Zach Thomas, DeMarcus Ware.
DeMarcus Ware played for the Cowboys, right?
Yeah. Yeah, Don Coryell, he's a coach. Chuck Howley, Joe Klecko, Ken Riley. And one other thing I want to touch on.
A couple of those names.
Yeah, I don't know a few of those names.
I knew most of them.
One other thing I want to touch on is it was pretty cool to see that one of the Bills trainer that performed CPR and DeMar Hamlin got an MVP vote the other night. That was pretty cool. But if I was going to give like prediction who I think is going to win MVP next year, pretty safe bet would be Mahomes.
It's got to be the favorite, right? Got to be. And then I'm sure Allen is in that.
Yeah.
I would assume
Burrow.
Hurts is in the top 5. Burrow. I mean, with football, it's kind of the same
quarterback every year.
Which, I mean, when you put up shit like that, I don't see how you shouldn't be in the lead. I mean, for what? For the first, they were 8-3. So for the first 12 or 13 weeks, I mean, we were having discussions that Tua was in that conversation. So, but
yeah, and it's been a long season of football.
We added the extra week. Otherwise, we'd already be talking about the winner.
Not the best season for our teams. Some things that we saw and we liked, but obviously a down year.
I would say
it was a better year for you.
I would say the Dolphins season was salvaged by making the playoffs. I would say the Packers season, you also kind of salvaged it because you were 3-8, right? Or 3-7. What was their record?
I know we were 4-8 at one time.
So they were 4-8, and they gave you the rest of they gave you the rest of the year. Every game was like a playoff game. Like that's what every game meant. The Dolphins tried to choke away their freaking season, and let me tell you, they tried. And I mean, they won the last game of the regular season. It was a field goal game, 9-6. But both of the seasons, I would say they were. I mean, better than watching the Bears every week.
Yeah. No,
I mean, I say that because they got the number one. They were the worst team in the league.
Yeah, that doesn't take much, but it was a really good season, a lot of fun. I enjoyed doing videos.
It was. I mean, for me, it was really fun. I mean, a lot of ups and downs. But
and I think next year we both have a lot to look forward to. I don't know if Rodgers is going to be back or not. He's on that retreat, but the draft is always fun. We got a top 15 pick. Could have another top 15 pick if we move Rodgers.
See, that's something we don't have because of everything we've been doing with all the moves, which that's fine. I mean, You got some of the best weapons in the league.
Well, they're going in, though. They're trying to win for you guys.
Yeah, well, and
Packers are always homegrown. Miami's a lot easier place to get people to go to.
Yeah, it is.
Nice and warm.
In a way, it is. It depends on the individual.
Mm-hmm.
I really think it does, because there are some people who want to win,
mm-hmm.
and I think in Rodgers' prime, if you wanted to win, like if they really tried, they could have got people. As to where in Miami, you would have had to sell them on like no state income tax, like hot weather, like
a lot of stuff to do.
Like practice facility is as nice as some people's facilities that they play on in the games. Like everything in Miami is top notch. Now that always has not relayed onto the field, which this year I would say it kind of did. That it finally started to pay off. But in like 3 years in a row, over 500. I mean, you would rather be that than
under.
Under.
One last thing I want to say before we finish this up. Well, first off, I'll say that I'm picking the Eagles to win the Super Bowl. Jake, you said the Chiefs, correct?
I'm taking the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl. I don't not a blowout at all.
Yeah. And then next year, leading into the playoffs, or maybe not the playoffs, but just the regular season, if Rodgers is our quarterback next year, I'll support him and I'll be happy about it.
I honestly think next year, if Rodgers is your quarterback, you have a better chance to make a run than you do with Jordan Love.
Yeah,
that's how good I think Aaron Rodgers is.
No, Aaron Rodgers can still play. There's no question about it. It's just with the way the money's
to just see
something
the future.
Yeah,
because
you can't keep hanging on to this 1 year.
But I mean, that's what the Bucs did, and it got them a Super Bowl.
But we've went all in since 2019 as far as with cap space.
I just would hate for Rodgers to go somewhere else and him like be in the MVP race when he could have done that at the Packers next year. Because I mean that'll hurt. That'll really. And then here are the Packers like at 6-10 with Jordan Love, which could very, very well happen.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think they're in a huge dilemma. The front office.
I don't know what. They don't know what they. I don't know if they want. I don't know that Rodgers knows what he wants to do. I don't know that they know, because I think there's some bad blood there. I think from Rodgers, it's because he felt that he's been slighted, probably most of his career in Green Bay, right? As far as we've always talked about
not completely trying to go all in, loading his teams.
And I think the front office says their argument would be, well, how many playoff games have you played in? Obviously, you're good enough that we don't need to surround you.
Well, he's been in numerous conference championship
teams.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're good enough to get there with or without him. So I could see why Rodgers was like, well, you know what? Point you probably, but if you want to win these games, I need the players. So that's where I think the bad blood comes.
And I think their dilemma is, Love's been there 3 years, and they must think he can play, which I also think that he can play.
Because they haven't tried anything else. They haven't went out and.
No, I think he can play. With the way that Watson played at the end of the year, we're going to have a good weapon. He's a good player.
Now the thing is though is when a backup comes in and takes the starter's role, just try to run the same offense Rodgers did.
Yeah, but
that's
I think
the offense he's been in for 3 years in practice. In backup, in games where Rodgers has come out and he's had to come in. I don't know if that's happened much. I'm sure it's happened a couple times.
Yeah,
or maybe in
just a few times.
Blowouts.
He came in against the Eagles once this year, and that was about it.
So, if you're going to change the offense, that means next year is going to be a trial and error.
Yeah,
I don't know that you want to do that. Do you want to waste a whole year trying, or do you want him just to run typically the same offense? Which
I don't think they will change the offense. He's been in the system for 3 years. They wouldn't change it. But I just think that their dilemma is Rodgers is due so much money. Every single year you get strung out until, basically August, because you don't know what the hell he's going to do. You don't know if he probably does want out, right? But he signed a lot. He signed, and I think a part of him really wants to retire with Green Bay. But it's a business, and the Packers really want to see Love, I think, on the field, because if they don't see him this year, and I think they're afraid for him to go to another team and end up being really good, and he's only 24 years old.
I know that's why it's so hard. Because if I was a Packer fan, I would want Aaron. Is the Packer fan base split, or is it more?
I think
Love?
It's split.
So
you know what? I would think it's a little bit more Love at this point.
So it's 60-40?
Yeah, 55-45, 60-40. Yeah.
That's still a lot of people who think they should bring Rodgers back, though.
Everybody in my household, I would say 2 out of 3 of us want Love.
Is it your dad who wants Rodgers?
No,
it's Maddie. It's Maddie.
My sister
who wants
Rodgers.
See, Maddie.
Maddie
knows.
Well, my dad, I don't think really wants Love either. He wants somebody completely different.
You must have a lot of faith in Love, as to where your dad really doesn't. And Maddie knows that they're the best way. I'm trying to say it. What puts them in the best case to win next year is Rodgers.
Yeah, I think what puts them in the best chance to win over the next 5 years
is Love. Sure.
And as a franchise, if you're in the front office, that's a decision you got to make.
Yeah, you have to either look at it like, are we playing for next year or are we playing for 3 years from now? I mean, that's the decision they have to make.
Mm-hmm.
But if for some reason them and Rodgers can agree on something, I mean, let's make it happen, right?
Yeah.
Because how long do you think he plays for?
Rodgers? I think Rodgers can play at a very high level for another 3 years.
Okay, so he'll be 42.
Well, he'd be about 43.
He'll turn 40. Okay.
He turns 40 this year.
Yeah. God, I just don't know, man. When you hit that 4-0, it's
he doesn't move as much as he used to.
But I think
he can sling it still.
Yeah.
There's no question. And he played this year, a lot of the year on a broken thumb. So I think if he didn't play on a broken thumb, we wouldn't be having as much of these conversations, because I think he would have played tremendously better. And if we win that game against the Giants in London when we had the big lead at halftime, our season's completely different. We're probably not even questioning this right now. But that's really all I got. I don't want to keep this dragging on about the future.
Rodgers.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, something's got to give.
Yeah.
I mean, right now, is he still a Packer?
Well, technically, yes. But the odds-on favorite for him to be next year is Vegas.
I'm sure it's not favored to be in Green Bay.
No. Which it is what it is. That stuff doesn't bother me. And
I mean, look, all good things must come to an end, right? I mean, the Brady saga is over, we think.
Well, even Brady didn't finish in Foxborough.
No, but he'll retire. You know what they'll do is they'll sign him back for 1 or 2 days, and it's kind of like Joakim Noah did with the Bulls. Like Kirk, like they'll retire as they'll go back to their team for a day and then retire, and then they're considered retired with that team. But
yeah, but I'm just ready for something new. The last thing I did want to touch on, Oklahoma and Texas are going to the SEC a year early, so July 1st of 2024.
So they'll have one more year in the Big 12.
Yep, this year, final year.
Your dad showed me the schedule. It is pathetic.
Oh, for Oklahoma?
Next year's schedule. Cole, I think if they go undefeated, there's an argument that they don't belong in the top 4. Well, isn't it 8 next year?
No, it's 4 next year. The year that we go to the SEC, there will be 12 teams.
How do they get into the top 4 with that schedule? Pull it up really quick if you want.
Well, I bet you they're going to start out in the top 12 ranked.
Probably. Did you see their schedule?
Yeah, Every year I look at the schedule and I think Oklahoma's.
You have to hope Texas is really, really, really good.
Well, Texas will be ranked when the season starts. They have a lot of recruits.
That's good. That's good because that's your best team, right? That's your best opponent.
What, everybody's just saying TCU sucks after they got to the championship game last year? I mean, it might have been a fluke.
Did you see that game?
Yeah, I did, but I'm just saying.
TCU's good. Where's the game Michigan at?
1 minute, I'm looking up the schedule.
They have to run the table, right? Oklahoma cannot afford 1 loss next year with the schedule.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you can't. Let's see here.
I mean, TCU and Texas, I guess you're right. Those are – I don't know about Texas. I'll give you TCU.
Okay. First game. Well, everybody plays and nobody their first game. I'm not
talking about the first week or two.
Okay, you're playing Arkansas State at home. That should be a win by 30 points.
70-14.
And then you're playing SMU.
Maybe a little bit better competition.
We should smoke them.
No, we'll start out.
We were playing Tulsa at Tulsa. Now that could be a trap game because it's still in Oklahoma.
Because Tulsa will have their whole fucking fan base at the game and they'll act like they won the championship if they win. Maybe,
but that should be a win.
Maybe for until halftime.
At Cincinnati.
Now see that? Now I think that's more of a trap game than Tulsa. How good are they anymore?
Well, they weren't very good last year, but their head coach left them to go to Wisconsin.
Okay, so I think they're
not terrible.
They roll that game.
Versus Iowa State, we always have trouble with Iowa State, but it's at home. We play against Texas. Yeah, the Red River rivalry.
We'll see how good Texas
That's always
is.
you don't really know how that game's going to go. Dylan Gabriel, former UCF quarterback, playing against his former team at home. I think we can beat UCF. I think we can beat Kansas.
All these are easy wins.
Oklahoma State.
Maybe that could be. We don't know how good they're going to be.
Blew them out last year. We weren't even that good last year. West Virginia at home should be a win. At BYU. BYU does not scare me.
Where's the TCU game at?
At home.
It's in Norman?
Yeah.
Fuck, that could be the
I think we could win every game. There's no reason we should have more than one loss.
I think their trap games go down at I think the trap game no.
Iowa State always plays us tough.
Is that in Iowa State?
No, it's at home.
Okay, maybe.
Let's see how many home games we got. We got 1, 2. That's almost a home game because it's still in Oklahoma.
There'll be a lot
so we'll say 3 at Ohio, not a home game. 4, Dallas, that's split. 5.
Good Lord. They playing 6, road games?
7 home games. 7.
That's what's going to hurt them. They don't play nobody on the road. So you're going to look at some of these schedule. You're going to look at some of these teams, and they're going to have good road wins, and Oklahoma's not.
Yeah.
They have to run the table.
Yeah, I think it's possible. I think one thing that
TCU will be hard, but like you said, it's in Norman. So if Oklahoma's I could see Oklahoma being undefeated, and then they lose that game, and then that's
the game I might go to.
And that's the reason they don't.
It's going to be one of the games in November.
That's the reason they don't get in. Can you imagine? But anyways,
no, what I wanted to say was, with the 5-star quarterback we got coming in, and then Gabriel returning for another year, he looked really good at a lot of times last year. I think. Is it going to be a thing where the fans want to see the young stud freshman 5-star coming in play? I think that's a thing now. Everybody wants to see the 5-star coming in play.
I mean, I would. Yeah. I want to see the younger guy, unless your older quarterback's a 4-year senior.
He is. Yeah, he's good, but we'll see what happens.
Maybe you'd play both of them.
Yeah. Well, we'll definitely get to see him play the first few weeks because we'll be blowing teams out.
Yeah,
but hopefully the defense is better next year. We got a lot of good recruits this year, number 4 overall class.
That's always their problem is their defense. So been their problem since I started watching college football.
Yeah,
score 40 and give up 41.
Yeah,
sickening.
Yeah, but that's all we got for this week. Jake, you got anything to add?
Nope.
All right, everybody enjoy the Super Bowl. We'll see you next time.